Okay, so hello and welcome to this episode of Salonpreneur Magazine, the podcast, as we now are. So today we're talking about launch edition still, and I'm joined by Rebecca Day from Day HR Consultancy, who writes for the magazine as a collaborative columnist. So we're going to be talking today about Rebecca's lovely article all about, it's very hard to do this, unlocking salon success and why defining the right skills and behaviours really matters. So welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you for having me.
That's okay. And yeah, I've actually really enjoyed doing this, and I've only got a few of you left to do now. But it's been a really lovely sort of thing just to kind of touch base with everybody and just talk about what it is that you wrote about, because I think it kind of opens up the door to like bigger conversation and just kind of getting people to sort of like know who's behind the writing as well. And I think that's really important. So why don't we start there? Just give a brief brief intro even into who you are and what you do.
Great. So my name's Rebecca Day, and I have had my own HR consultancy for the last 8 years, really specialising in the retail and professional hair and beauty industry and fast-moving consumer goods. So I've worked in the beauty industry forever.
Yeah.
I actually started on the shop floor in between my A-levels and university and never left.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a
It's
journalist,
a good
and I
industry.
changed my mind. Is something about it that just completely is magical. I was a head of HR for the Estee Lauder group of companies in the UK and Ireland. I've done a spell as global executive director for them, in charge of all of their retail advisors across all brands and supply chain as well. And I was really inspired to join Salonpreneur, and
Yeah.
I've known of, or I know all of the experts just over the years of sort of different forums and different events. So it's brilliant to be in such
Yeah.
illustrious company. Um, I was inspired to write the article because I am passionate about identifying what gets people up in the morning,
Yeah,
also
absolutely.
skills and behaviours that team members need to demonstrate to be successful. HR's a dirty word often. Sometimes I'm the last resort, and
Yeah.
instantly my next article is going to be all about this. I'm the last resort because you call me if it's gone wrong.
Yeah.
I will be telling people and telling listeners and readers over the next coming weeks how you can avoid that by
Yeah.
nipping problems in the bud. But my advice to any business owner, large, small, whatever industry, but particularly in our industry, because it's so personable, and
Yeah.
your stylists, your technicians are all interacting with our customers.
Yeah.
And if I can give one piece of advice, it is identify your customer experience, what
Mhm.
you want your brand, your salon to stand for, how you want your team members to interact with your customers, and work out what skills and behaviours you need them to demonstrate.
Yeah,
That,
absolutely.
that is then the basis of how you attract, retain, develop and reward your employees. And it's really motivating. People want to know what's expected of them.
Yeah. And I think that's a really important thing, isn't it? I mean, from the moment you sort of advertise and you start getting those applications in, you start getting little hints and clues about who those people are. And just how they present themselves on their CV, or if you've got an application form, how they present themselves on that.
Yeah.
But from those first written words that they send you and about their experience and where they've worked and all those kinds of things, there's so many little hints and clues, isn't there, about the skills that they've acquired,
Yeah.
how transferable they're going to be. And I think that's something as well we kind of miss out on quite a lot, is how transferable skills are so important. And I know, like with me, there's different points when I've gone for different jobs and stuff over the years that I've got such a wealth of transferable skills, and people kind of get stuck in the fact that I don't do that anymore, therefore it's no longer relevant. And I think that, we just need to check all of those different boxes, because if they've worked in, I don't know, Greg's or something, and then they want to have a transfer and move into a different industry like ours, all of that customer care and customer service stuff, says so much. And to be customer facing in an environment like Greg's, or whatever one, you know, there's just so
Yeah.
much that transfers, and those skills and behaviors you need to work in somewhere like that is just like, how can you tweak that and make that into how they deliver a service to a client that's having something lovely rather than a sausage roll.
Absolutely, hit the nail on the head. So many transferable skills. You know, I remember hiring cabin crew
Yeah,
because their downtime sort of was our busy time, peak trading during Christmas. They are fantastic in
yeah,
terms of being retail advisors, but also in terms of front desk, you know,
yeah,
the whole concierge
yes,
service. So again, hospitality staff are
yeah,
always great and have really transferable skills.
yeah,
And my advice is, you know, it really does start with that first step. What is it that I'm looking for? So
yeah,
many people just concentrate on trade tests. Of course, somebody's got to pass a trade test. Yeah, that's non-negotiable. But how are they interacting?
yeah,
And also, if your business isn't going where you need it to be in terms of, you know, conversion rates,
yeah,
um, retail sales, then you really need to dial into your existing team what's
yeah,
missing. Or if you've
yeah,
got a superstar, what makes them a superstar and emulate it.
yeah,
So all your adverts entice people. Don't make it into a job description. Talk about your brand. Talk about, you know, what you want to be known for, your values. You know, we're looking for somebody that, you know, is passionate about customer service, gets a real kick out of making a client's day. All
yeah,
those kinds of evocative
yeah,
wording. And then when you interview them, tick that off. You
yeah,
know, tell me about a time when you've made a client's day.
yeah,
What did you do?
yeah, scenarios.
No, yeah, because, and again, I'm really passionate about that. And the biggest no-no is saying, "Hey, Sue, what would you do if a
Yeah,
customer did or a client did this?"
yeah,
Because if you know, all of us can be inventive, but when you
yeah,
say, "Tell me about a time when you did this,"
yes,
and then you probe, what do you think it really made that experience
yeah,
special?
yeah,
What was
absolutely.
the extra mile? It's all those kinds of probing questions.
And I think as well, and I mean, you can go into all the body language of it as well, can't you? Of like whether whether they're actually recalling or whether they're inventing, gives different visual signs and all that
And
kind of stuff as well.
the eyes.
Yeah. Watch where those eyes go. Are they looking down? Are they looking up, left or right? And that's something. I mean, that's another whole different level of like psychology. But you can tell sometimes when people are not being fully truthful with what they're saying, and whether they're not, you know, whether they're saying they've got skills that they don't have. And if you miss those signs, then you might miss that, and you might think that they've got all these amazing things that they're going to do, but then when they get to you, their behaviors don't match what it is they've said. I'm having an episode with my dog. You probably, hopefully, no one can hear them.
I cannot hear them. No, don't
Good.
worry.
I know they're just rolling around, making a lot of noise next to me. Thank goodness for noise cancelling Zooms. Oh yes, but when they then arrive with you as an employee, and you know you're sometimes even a few days in, when you realise that you have a situation where something isn't necessarily what you want it to be, yeah, then, and if you don't act on that immediately, and I do think actually you even say, like you saying actually about the whole oh, my brain's gone, sorry, it's like my dogs have completely distracted me because they keep barking. But you saying about that, the fact that people call you in when things go wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it's like there is so much value, and having been a HR person, I mean, I didn't do HR in the way you do, but I worked as a support member within the department. But understanding that HR is there, should be there from the beginning, because if you have HR from the beginning, you know, that consultation with somebody like you at the beginning to get your recruitment process correct will then give you much better chance of recruiting the right people, so you don't end up in a situation where you have to make a frantic phone call to HR going, how do I get rid of this person?
Absolutely. And there's a whole load of employment legislation coming down the line over the next 2 years. The Employee Rights Bill, it's the biggest shake-up for decades. And over the next few editions, I'm going to be talking about that.
Yeah.
We're talking about it, not using legal jargon, from
Yeah.
the perspective of a salon business owner, just to help you navigate it and
Yeah.
get prepared now. And to your point, getting those foundations in place now, contracts, your skills and behaviours, setting expectations,
Yeah.
holding people accountable if they don't, you know, meet those expectations. You don't
Yeah.
have to be a cow about it. You know, you
No.
do
No.
it in the right way, in a coaching way, is key to protecting your business.
Yeah.
Also be talking about nipping problems in the bud. You know, to your point, you know, somebody comes on board, it's not really working. You need to set expectations and give them a reasonable chance, because that's
Yeah.
only fair and reasonable. But with the new law that's going to be coming in probably in around October 26, which is actually going to give people day one rights to claim unfair
Yeah.
dismissal, you're going to have to get that skills and behaviours piece right. And
Yeah.
if you see something in a probationary period that doesn't align,
Yeah.
you need to follow the proper process too.
I think as well, it's like, you know, we know that there's a shift in the industry towards renter space models and all of that, you know, and a lot of people going self-employed and leaving salon environment, and salons closing on the high street. And I think a lot of that does, or not a lot, but there's a percentage of it that stems from a fear of having employees,
Yes.
or that they've had bad experiences as an employer, that the
Yeah.
cost of being an employer, all those kinds of things. And I think that anything we can do to try and mitigate that and make it a bit easier. And I had a mix of different people working for me, and
Yeah.
I always had employees. I tried to do apprenticeships. I tried to do all of that kind of stuff to bring new skills through and new people through, whilst also having like a semi self-employed model thing going on. It was very complicated where I worked when I had my salon, but it was something that worked relatively well for me, and for the people that I had working around me. But I think maybe because I had been in HR and I'd been in that environment, I wasn't fearful of it. My
Yeah.
husband had had employees for a long time, so I wasn't scared of the paperwork. And I do think it kind of, there's just so much overwhelm of being an employer and what comes with it, isn't there? And it makes people, yeah, maybe not want to do it, or when it starts going wrong, because they haven't got that backup and support, they don't know where they can go to get help. And they don't, I mean, so many people probably don't even realize that there's people like you out there.
Yeah. No, it's true. And then it's amazing how many people say, you know, oh, well, I went, my accountant did me a contract. Accountants are fantastic. You cannot live without one
Yeah.
if you're in a business. But, you know, in the same way that you wouldn't want me doing your accounts and your
Yeah.
tax return,
That's it. You can
I
add
can't
up.
help you.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want an accountant,
Yeah.
you know, creating a contract. But I'm going to really sort of try and take the angst out of it
Yeah.
by really just giving you a step-by-step guide of what you
Yeah.
should, you know, what you should be thinking of,
Yeah.
and some pitfalls to avoid. I totally get your point about self-employed contractors. It works for some people if you
Yeah.
get it right and
Yeah.
you know that they're not an employee in disguise.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But there is no substitute for having people that are employed by you, because
Yeah.
you can't, or you shouldn't, because then it becomes sort of like an employee relationship in disguise. Tell somebody what they should be doing.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
And that's,
I mean, we've got a whole podcast. We did a podcast about this, didn't we?
yes, we did.
On inspiring salon professionals a little while ago. So you can go and find out all
Please do.
about that
Please do.
on there, because it's a really, really interesting conversation, and it gives, and Rebecca breaks down everything around the employment law, and disguised employment, and how to alleviate it, how to deal with it, what you need to do, and all the different steps. So that's that bit. But also, I think like one of the things that you were saying in your article as well is about recognizing when you have someone that does have those amazing skills, and then they literally rebook with client again and again and again, and they are so passionate about, and it might just be one service that they absolutely love, and they just continually win at that service. So would you say, like, when you have people like that, what can you do? I mean, obviously you need to reward them to keep them,
Yeah, absolutely.
but how, so do you have like methods and stuff that you can suggest that people can take that person and help them, I don't know, osmosis it into everybody else in the salon?
Totally. First of all, it's like, well, why does it make them like that? You know, what
Yeah.
is it? Just getting the essence of them and
Yeah.
really sort of picking up on them. It's by budding them up with other employees,
Yeah.
Learning by doing. I'm a big believer about
Yeah.
learning by doing. Um, and you know, all of us like to be rewarded and recognized for a job well done. Sometimes it's a case of giving them that public recognition. You know, you're a mentor, you're a buddy, you're a specialist in the area.
Yeah.
I also am a big believer of rewarding and incentivizing the right behaviors.
Yeah.
In my article, from the you know, the launch edition, you'll see a case study in there
Yeah.
about sort of when it hasn't gone wrong. I always think, look at how you reward the right behaviors. What is
Yeah.
your business doing? Where is it going? You need to book return your client lists. You're not getting any rebooks. Then you need to reward the right behaviors.
Yeah.
So it's working, you know, with your accountant, looking at, you know, your pot of money, and rather than sort of perhaps doing it on a percentage, you know, a commission as a percentage on, you know, service revenue, how can you mix it up?
Yeah.
You know, do you need to increase your business in, as I say, return bookings? Is it retail sales, your conversion rates?
Yeah.
Is it getting new clients?
Yeah.
And, you know, really give really clear direction on that, and
Yeah.
look at your pot of money, and you know, what you
It's,
need to bring in order to reward. It works every time,
yeah.
promise me. I have had lots of experience in changing
Yeah.
bonus and commission systems from some very, very big hair brands and also beauty brands.
Yeah.
It
And
works.
I think as well though, what was going through my head when you're saying like about that model of like having mentors and buddies and stuff is that, you know, within the school system, I know like when I had many clients, many of my clients were teachers and worked in education, and they were like, you know, working in primary schools or secondary schools, and they all at different points would be recognized for being a math specialist, or they'd be recognized for being a history specialist, and they wouldn't necessarily be head of department or anything like that, but they would have that specialism. So their peers would go to them if they were teaching that, you know, especially in primary, if they're
Yeah,
teaching that, then they
yeah,
can go to them and go, actually, can you just give me a bit of support with this? And I think actually that whole sort of like mentoring thing is, you know, to be told that you're so good at something
yeah,
that that your boss wants you to support everybody else in the business with that particular thing, you know,
yeah,
things like, you know, particular facials or intimate waxing, and especially things like intimate, or even doing brow waxing, because I mean, I had a
yeah,
member of staff who didn't ever want to wax brows. She was so scared of it because she'd had a bad experience at college and she never ever got over it. And she had that anxiety every time there was a brow wax booked with her. And in, you know, but one of my other girls was an amazing brow specialist. So it's like, come on, like, you know, let's just do this. Do it on my brows. I don't care. Just do it, you know, and just trying to get them over it. And
yeah.
I do think it's something that we perhaps, you know, we don't do that much of, do we? Celebrating the amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, because they will make or break your salon. We all know that.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that example that you've just given. How nice
Yeah.
for the brow specialist
Yeah.
to, you know, showcase her expertise, help
Yeah.
someone else, and how nice for your lady that wasn't confident to
Yeah.
build skills in that
Yeah.
way. Also, as a consumer, and I spend a lot of time as a consumer in
Yeah.
salons, I can tell you that. I love to see a specialist, you know,
Yeah.
meet Brittany, our brow
Yeah.
specialist, or, you know, as you say, intimate waxing specialist. I love that because it makes you feel as a client special, that you're getting extra expertise.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's just like another added bit of trust and confidence for the
Yeah.
client, isn't it? And
Yes.
we did on my site, like on my site, we always had like, you know, we had like a meet the therapist kind of page on my site. And on there, everyone was introduced with, you know, roughly a little bit about their history, but
Yeah.
also what their favorite things to do were. Because if it isn't your favorite thing to do, sometimes you might not perform quite so well. And it isn't, and it's not, you know, indicative of you being a poor therapist. It's just that actually, you know, give me massage. I mean, not all day because my hands hurt too much nowadays, but you know, but I love aromatherapy. It's one of the only, so I know the only treatments I do is massage, aromatherapy, and reflexology. That's it. I'm holistics only, because that was my thing. I always
Yeah.
loved so much. Ended up doing like being nails for years and was proficient, and, you know, could do a really good set of nails. But put me in a treatment room with someone, let me put my hands on them, and they get a different experience, and they'll get an experience from me that they won't get from somebody else because of the passion I have for it.
And the psychology backs
Yeah,
that up. So
yeah,
it really, really does. There's so many in employee engagement studies on what makes people tick and what
yeah,
motivates people.
yeah,
And it's having a good boss.
yeah,
That is, the number one reason why people leave isn't money.
absolutely, yeah,
It's having a good boss or a bad boss. And then you leave. It's also, do I get the chance to do what I love every
yeah,
day?
yeah,
And to do meaningful work and to
yeah,
get development.
yeah,
Those are the top motivators for people.
yeah,
Um, yeah, you need to pay somebody enough
yeah,
to make money not an issue,
yeah.
but it is not a motivator in itself.
Yeah. And I know there was a salon I did some education in years ago. And she is an amazing salon and she's got multiple salons. And I was really, really inspired by her and in awe of a lot of the things that she did. And her staff area, I just went in there and was like, I wish I had a team I wish I had a team the size that she had so I could emulate what she did, but my team wasn't big enough. But they used to have like monthly nights out, and they had their community spirit of supporting each other was so brilliant. And they all had, she had like, I don't know if she recognized it in like mentor buddy ways and stuff like that. I wasn't there long enough to discover, but the girls they did have their own passions. And even just talking to them while I was educating them with some nail stuff, they would talk about the things that they loved and why they loved working there. And so much of it was because they were allowed to explore their own identities. They were allowed to have wins, and their wins were recognized with and it wasn't, like I say, it wasn't necessarily like financial bonuses or anything like that, but they were given treats and just nice things. They were given like tickets out to the cinema or something,
I think it's a
which is
lovely
obviously as a benefit in kind, but
yeah.
It's nice just to be given that, that little boost, isn't it?
Completely and utterly. We all like to be treated. We all
Yeah,
like to be recognised for a job well done.
yeah,
Find out what people makes people tick. I always, when I've had a team in the past, um, I have always said, or a new team member, or I've taken over someone else's team, I've always said, what gets you up in the morning?
yeah,
You know, what inspires you? And if I was going to recognise your performance, what does that recognition look like?
yeah,
I will never ever forget one of my team. Um, I got her to stand up in a like a sort of a really big conference once because she'd done an amazing job for me on a particular project. She was mortified. Everyone was clapping her, and I thought it was a lovely thing to do. And then she said to me, please don't ever do that to me again. And it's what then inspired me to write what I call my motivators checklist. When I
yeah,
ask, I don't sit there and tick it off, but I do it conversationally. You know, how do you like to be recognized? Do
yeah,
you like the public recognition? Is it a job well done? What is it? How
yeah,
can I, really make you feel valued as an employee? So yeah, that was a really big lesson.
yeah.
Never emulated again. So
Yeah, no, is that because it is, just that whole public speaking
yeah,
thing is
yeah,
just like terrifying for so many
yeah,
people. It's top. I think it's like it is the top phobia for people, isn't it? It's like having to stand up and
yeah.
speak. But anyway, I think we covered quite a
We
lot.
have. It's always great
And
getting on a call
yeah,
with you because
yeah.
just kind of yeah,
There's just the thing is that there's always so much to talk about, always so much to
yeah,
talk about. But anyway, thank you so much for coming on. And if you want to
absolute
find out
pleasure.
more about skills and behaviors, then like the launch edition is going to be available. We have back issues available, and so do just go back and you can order it on the website. And yeah, and look out for Rebecca's next article, which is going to be breaking down into easy language about employee rights, because it's going to be coming.
It's coming your way soon. You can't avoid it. So
No,
yeah,
no. So just get behind
get
it.
on board and get
Yeah,
started. Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on, Rebecca.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.